So you're saying maybe before you saddle up as King Achish of Gath to get ready, there's some sort of country music in your AirPods getting you hyped up for that moment.
Yes, I love
That's
it.
ironic.
Oh, you remember that song, We'll Put a Boot in...
Yeah.
It's not about the money for me anymore.
Exactly.
I mean, I want you to pay me more. I really live my life. I walk by faith and not by sight. And no matter what life will bring towards me, my faith is just it's the foundation.
I'm super excited about this conversation. Alex, you're one of my favorite cast members. Great friend. Love working
thanks, John.
with you.
I appreciate it, man.
Welcome to the show. By the way, if you want more of these sort of in-depth conversations around the show, like and subscribe right now, because these are the interviews that we never get to have. When you do like press around the show, it's like you do the same 5 minutes over and over again. I wanted to have in-depth conversations with the people that I've grown to love that are making this show with me, and sort of welcome the audience in to the making of the show. So we are on one of the stages. This is our virtual stage. So we have a lot of pieces that are basically like Legos.
Yeah, like
a bunch of them over there. And this is like, you said this is your origin story.
This is from my hometown. I'm from Babylon, Iraq, cradle of civilization. And this is actually Sumerian, with the Sumerian writing. So it's pretty cool to see it in the show. Just like, I love
Someone thought this out.
Not only that you brought actors from all walks of life together, but the set and the art that you guys put together, it kind of hits all civilizations of, the Greek civilization, the Babylonian civilization. So yeah, it's pretty cool.
Ancient stuff. Yeah. Ancient Sumerians, did you say?
Ancient Sumerian, and that is the writing right on that stone. That's ancient Sumerian.
We were doing a set which is in this place Endor, which is crazy and like kind of like a melting pot of civilizations and a refuge, and sort of like kind of and so I think these were all set pieces from that, and we set them up like Legos in front of our virtual stage. We filmed most of the show, as you know, out in it. We're in Greece, we're out on location, but then we assemble sets in here as well. So hey man, welcome to Inside the House, brother. Welcome back to another Inside the House, which is your look inside the show House of David. This is one of the stages we make it on. I get to introduce you to some of my greatest friends and collaborators on this show, and I'm super, super excited about the conversation that we're about to have. I think, Alex, if I were to say that you're a character that people like hate to love, love to hate. Is he a bad guy? I don't know, because he's like ridiculously good looking and has some amazing moments in the series. But you play Achish, who's the Lord of Gath and kind of unifier of the Philistine army, and you have an incredible story. And by this time, you guys have seen the finale, which you have some incredible moments in. Total cliffhanger, but your first of all, your performance in the show is fantastic, man, and your presence on set is amazing. You and not only that, it's fun to have, to make a show where you work with, great professionals who are also great people, and I love this show. That means a
lot coming from you, John. Really, you being our leader, I'm very grateful to be part of the show, and it's an absolute honor.
Well, I'm glad you're here, man. Let's talk about the show. There's so much to talk about. Before that, you are a father.
Yes.
And your daughter is about to celebrate her first birthday. Is that right?
She just celebrated her first birthday on the 25th.
So how has that been for you? Your first child, right? Is that
first child?
So and a girl. My daughter had me like wrapped around her finger within a year. What's it been like? What's this journey been like?
Before Aliyah, my daughter, I was a brave man. And then when she was born, I'm not so brave anymore. It really is because, it's just the responsibility. You want to become a better man for them. Your vision just narrows down. Things that used to matter before, they just don't matter anymore. And it just makes you that much more focused. And I feel like every day that I wake up, before her, it was just like, I need something to look forward to. You have things, but not something this deep. And now that she's in my life, man, if I don't pick up as soon as I open my eyes, video call or FaceTime, and I just got to see her.
Yeah, they change. Yeah. So what do you think? Like, what do you think mattered less? post having a daughter, and what do you think matters more now? Like, what amplifies in your
when
life?
you're single,
Yeah.
or when you're just beginning, you just got married. You have in the back of your head, no, you still want to go hang out with your boys.
Yeah, yeah.
You still just want to go travel and do guy things. And but when she came along, that is a true definition of family comes first.
Yeah.
I got to do better every day for them.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I remember my oldest, Kate, is now 16 years old. Crazy, crazy.
yeah, I'm pretty sure you were young when you had
I
us.
was really young. But she has had me wrapped around her finger since she was born. And it's a special thing. It changes everything, man. So you began your journey. You have an incredible story. To becoming an actor. You have millions of people follow you on social. You have a rabid fan base. Every time you post something about the show, it seems like the world explodes. Anyway, but how did this begin for you? Where did your journey start? And because it's an inspirational story.
As I told you before, I'm an Iraqi American. I fled Iraq during the first Gulf War in 1991. I was in a refugee camp for 2.5 years. Tents out in the middle of the desert in Saudi Arabia.
Refugee camp in Saudi Arabia. You're how old?
I was 5 when I fled out.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, until I was about 7.5. Until American Armed Forces saved us, my family and I, and offered us a path to U.S. citizenship. So I went to the States. I grew up in Everett, Washington.
Everett, what was why the choice of Everett, Washington? How did that work out?
When United Nations and American government accepted families to come to the States, we got to New York, and then right in the airport they had my father went in the office, and I remember seeing this as they opened up a book and said, "Hey, where do you want to go?" And I was thinking that my father's going to choose a desert because we're from the desert.
Yeah.
So he ended up choosing Washington. He was like, "It was beautiful. Let's just go there."
Just chose Washington.
He just chose Washington, and I grew up in Everett, Washington.
Now, do you remember much about this? If you're 5 to 7 years old and you're in a refugee camp in Iraq, what were your memories of that? And then what were your memories of coming to America? How was that for a 7-year-old?
You would think at 5 years old he would still remember. I just want to make something clear. A child that grows up in the Middle East is not the same a child that grows up in the States. In the States, life is good. You grow up, you have everything handed to you. You have everything. Not the kids that grew up. I grew up in war, and as a child, when you're traumatized, that vision just stays with you, and it just makes you a lot much older than what you are. And so the transition, I remember when I went from refugee camp to the U.S., I remember when we first got there. It's October 27, 1993. We landed in the U.S. It was so surreal, man, coming off the plane and just walking on concrete in not desert or anything. Just, bro, the feeling was just like I'm living in Disney World, or something. So
wow.
Yeah, and then growing up in the States at first, it was as a kid, it's not so hard to learn English. So it took me 3 months.
3 months. You come to this country. You come to America.
Yeah.
You know no English.
No English. I only knew.
You land in New York.
Number two. That's
Just
all
that.
I knew.
Okay. But you learn English in 3 months.
3 months of going to school and being around kids. I mean, 7 in the morning, you're at school. You come home like 3 o'clock, and you're just around kids. You, as a child, you learn faster when you're older. Yeah.
And what was your view of America like before you came? And how were you treated once you got there? You're in Washington. You no English.
When I was in refugee camp, people used to get donations, and I was watching TV, and I used to just watch things on TV, and I'm just like, man, I want to be in that, I want to live that life that those kids are living. And when I came to the States, that became reality. What I used to see on TV, and I'm just like, I'm seeing it. It was just, an unbelievable feeling, you know, going from 2.5 years in the desert to the most modern country in the world. Yeah.
When you saw it on TV, I was curious, like, when did this dream start for you of being, you know, first a model, then an actor?
Yeah.
Now in this series, and many, I mean, huge fan base. When was that birth? Was it birthed that young as you watched TV, or like where was the spark for you?
It was birthed at that young age, but I didn't realize it until I got older and became an actor. And I had to look back, and I was just like, man, I used to play with kids. You know, we used to cut off cardboard, put our head inside, put a hole in the cardboard, and then we have somebody stand there. So the shadow of them, we could see them running around, and that became so fascinating for me. But that wasn't my real dream at that time. I loved doing it, and it wasn't my real dream was to become a professional soccer player.
Professional soccer,
and
okay.
I did. And
Okay.
I played for Arizona Storm for 1 year. We had a professional indoor soccer team. And that didn't go very well. So
Well, you did it though.
I did do it. I was very fortunate to experience that. But then I moved to Hawaii in 2006. So all the way from 2006 to 2009, I grew up there, and I found myself working on a TV show, Lost, as a production assistant.
Unbelievable.
So, and then the reason they hired me on is because there was a character named Saeed.
Yeah, of course.
On the show. I don't know if you
I'm
remember
a
that.
huge Lost fan. Yeah.
So they brought me on because I understood a little bit of Arabic, of how to have them pronounce it.
Yeah.
So they offered me a production assistant position.
On Lost.
On Lost. I was there for season 5 for 7 months.
Incredible.
Working. And I just, whatever I had to do, I finished it early just so I could run before the take and just stand behind camera and just watch the actors, what they do. And man, I was just like, I can do that.
So that's where you really got the bug, was
Yes.
on Lost.
Yes.
That's amazing. I love that show. I'm a huge Lost fan. And Saeed's a great character. So you're growing, to rewind a little bit, you're growing up in America, you're in Washington. What were your sort of, you know, high school, college years like? Was it about sports? Was it about, and how did you, what was your life growing up like in Washington?
I wouldn't say it was easy. And it had its moments. It was growing up in Washington. I went through middle school, get bullied a lot, and I wasn't a rich kid growing up, so I was a very poor kid.
Yeah.
You know, came to this country, we restarted from nothing.
Wow.
And went into high school. It was all about sports for me, all the way until like sophomore year in high school, until 9/11 happened. And it just, from then on, just things started going, you know, downhill. And
Interesting.
And I had to face a lot of racism.
Wow.
And it made me feel like it was my fault for some reason, and I have nothing to do with it. I ran away from that type of stuff, you know, to come
And you're
to this
living the
country.
American dream at
And I
this
live in the
point, yeah.
American dream, and all the kids that I used to play sports with, and then they were so close to me, and then when that happened, I just kind of drifted apart. So it just kind of, my last 2 years of high school, I just became like a lone wolf. I do my job, put my head down and just go. And then when I graduated from high school, I became a contractor for the United States government, for the Marines, because I felt like I need to prove myself.
You've had like 18 different lives, man. I mean, that's
Oh, man,
amazing for an actor. Contractor, what were you doing?
I was a contractor for the United States Marines. During 2003 to 2007, there was a lot of ambush going on to the military, and vice versa. When the soldiers get got, they don't know how to deal with Iraqis, or how to, you know, stay away from the women, like talk to the leaders of the towns and the mayors. So I felt the duty of, you know, I'm here, I could save lives on both sides, you know.
Wow.
So and we used to be on base camps, and we had units come in, and we would be dressed in Arabic attire, and we don't speak English to them. We just speak Arabic, and they have to go through this mission that they have Okay.
So it was like a rehearsal for
It was like a
for their
rehearsal.
mission,
So-
and you're teaching them how to engage with the culture.
Exactly. And we have to be 100% acting.
Okay. See, this is preparing you, man.
I'm telling you, it's been with me all my life.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize it until TV show Lost, and I realized, you know what, hey,
I'm good at this.
I'm really good at this. I could do this.
How about that? So when you talk about drive and motivation, because you strike me as a very, very like you hustle, man. You know, like that kind of hustle and grind and build.
Yeah.
I always wonder where that drive comes from in somebody. So as you look back and you think about the trauma of when like you say you didn't grow up as a normal kid. There was fear that and then post 9/11 you really encountered racism, even though you'd been in the country most of your life at that point in America. How did those things affect your? I mean, they're on the one hand they're tough things to deal with, but did any of that instill some of the drive I see in you now, or sort of the urgency or the determination? Like, how did those things shape you?
Yeah, John, absolutely. The thing is, John, I grew up, I went through war, I went through a refugee camp. My parents had to endure to go through that. And they didn't make it through all that just so I can become an average person. And all my life, inside my heart, I've always felt I was meant for something more. Growing up in high school, I thought there was something wrong with me, but I knew God was preparing me for something much more bigger than me. And I'm still on this journey. And every day I feel like I wake up and I'm just like, oh my God, I can't believe it. This is my life now. I'm doing something that I love. So the drive comes from that. I didn't go through all that because that was real pressure. This is not real pressure. This is love. This is I love doing this.
It's amazing what we get to do.
Yeah.
So what and what role did, like you mentioned, God had more for you, sort of belief and devotion? What role did that play in your life? Was it a part of your life? Did it fuel your pursuit of your career, or what?
Absolutely. I've been faithful all my life. I grew up as a Muslim. And it's funny you say this. I was raised as a Christian, and
that's amazing.
Yeah, and I was one of the leaders in Young Life, in high school, and
That's so cool.
we used to all go travel together, because to me, it was all. And my grandmother, rest in peace, she raised me to live my life with love and light. And when I was in Hawaii, especially in Hawaii, there wasn't no mosques or anything like that, what I grew up with and what I know. Every Sunday I was at church. I grew up there because that's the house of God. So I was very fortunate, and I wish people could experience what I've experienced, living in other worlds. We all have a better understanding of each other and respect each other, and just know that we are all people of the book. And we're all following one destiny, and we're going there. You may be having different journeys, but we're all going there. Yeah, it all falls back on you as a person to see how you're gonna be treating people, how you're gonna live your life for righteousness.
Yeah. Love it. Wait, what was the grandmother taught you to? Because it was a great
light.
quote.
Love and light.
Live your life, love and light.
No matter what you are. All my life I've been like that.
It's powerful, and there's a presence about you that definitely reflects that. And people forget, like David, he's a revered prophet in
all three
Christianity,
religions.
Judaism, and Islam. You know, he's like the goat of faith. And so it's interesting that many people derive inspiration from the story that we're telling. It's almost like the trunk of the tree of belief.
And the show very much brings all that, honestly, and it brings all these, as you can see on social media. You see all the love that we're getting from the Middle East.
Well, you get a lot of love on social media.
We all do now.
First of all, it's like you and your wife both, man. It's like everything that you post is just blows up. How did you your stardom rose fast in the Middle East. So you come back to America, you grew up in America, you work on Lost in Hawaii. How did we get from there to here? Because now you have an incredible following.
So after Hawaii, I knew I had to go to California to pursue acting.
So you were bit by the bug, like you knew I have to do this now.
Oh yeah, going to castings, jumping from agency to agency, just trying to get better representation. And then you get to the casting, and then there's 500 people in front of you, and then the casting director has worked with these people, these actors before, so you're like, damn, they're gonna choose them.
Yeah.
I come to realization that, John, I'm not gonna get a chance here. I made a decision, started making my contacts in the Middle East. I was like, I will go back there and know what I know and act there, build a resume. So when I come back...
That was so smart.
So come back, and so Jon Erwin would not refuse me when I come on a show.
I know, man. You guys massive. How could I? Yeah, of course.
Corona happened. Everyone fled California. I ended up moving back to my father's house. I started working in a hospital as an oxygen tank technician.
Wow.
I was delivering oxygen tanks to all the Corona patients that no one wants to go.
Yeah.
And it was locked down, but I loved it because I could drive and be out of the house.
Yeah.
During that time, in between my drives and delivering, I used to make contacts with producers and directors in the Middle East and say, hey, I'm looking for an opportunity just in case. If you have anything right, I'd love to audition. And sure enough, I got my first opportunity from NBC in the Middle East, and I did my first TV show. Now, growing up in the States, I have lost a lot of my Arabic.
So you had to brush up, yeah, because you moved over very young.
Yes,
yeah.
I still can't read or write Arabic.
Yeah.
So I was doing my scripts in English letters. So I was reading like a whole scene in English letters, and then I had to translate it. And then the Arabic is very difficult.
Yeah.
Because if you say one letter, it could change the whole entire sentence. One letter. And transforming into that, I went through that challenges. So for the past 5 years, back to back, I've been leading 5 different TV shows. I was nominated. I'm going to brag about myself.
Yeah, do it, man.
I was
part of your story.
nominated Best Actor 3 times. I won Best Actor 3 times in the Middle East.
Incredible.
And I knew my dream of my career. I've always wanted to come back home to the States and pursue acting in the States.
Yeah, it was amazing that you embraced an audience in a niche, in a lane, and built, and then to come back. I mean, there's a lesson there. And I also think, over COVID, most people were just sitting back and waiting.
Yeah.
I like this quote. I love quotes where Edison said, all things come to he who hustles while he waits. And
yes.
so, man, you hustled.
Yeah. So
COVID was your kind of gateway to fame and success, and we did 5 series
yes.
all over that time frame in the Middle East.
Yes.
That's hard work, man.
I've always lived my life, no matter what I win or what, if I win the Oscar, I always feel like I'm in second place. I never want to get comfortable. So, and that's how I live my life. This is this is the drive. If we don't have drive in life, believe me, you just be another person.
I know.
99% of the people.
Michael gave me this ring. It says "Seek discomfort," and I remind him of that a lot of times late at night. But I do believe that growth does not come when you're comfortable.
Yes.
Kind of the opposite.
Yeah. Same thing with singers. They'll release their first album and it just kills everyone, and then they get money, they get comfortable, and then they lack to produce great music. We see it a lot. Very, very rare you see a successful person keep on going.
Oh, I know. The whole one-hit wonder thing, because so many people, the work has to be its own reward, not the outcome of the work, I think. So I remember the first time we met, man, I was so impressed by you. And talk about, you play Achish, King of Gath. If nobody, the series has quadrupled its expectations. It's one of the biggest shows on Amazon. I'm so grateful. But for those people that might not know much about the character, like, who do you think he is, and what do you think drives him?
What drive him at the moment, and what people are seeing, is that he's full of rage and hate. But deep down inside all that, since I've been living with Achish the past, the first season and the past few months, I'm just starting to realize that he's not bad of a person inside. Things happened in his life that led him to be that. Just as much as I went through refugee camp and war and everything else, it could have took me a different path in life.
Yeah.
but I chose to be something else. And as we go in the series, we're going to discover Achish's life, and we're going to see why he is the way he is.
Season 2,
and
it's a big part of it. Yeah,
playing Achish, I have to be very careful in the aspect of course, I'm trusting you guys to leading me to it, and the fact that I don't want to play him too villainish and have people really hate that. But there's something about him.
Yeah, I don't think you hate him at all. That's the thing. I think I love quote unquote villains that you understand.
Yeah.
And we love this title, House of David, and that house of being, sort of the gateway into the story. And so you have intention and obstacle, and certainly David's intention. Achish is one of the great obstacles too, but you understand his motivation that Saul killed his father, and he's trying to avenge his father, rally his people together to do what his father couldn't do. And so you really kind of understand him, and it's a crazy thing. Martin's portrayal of Goliath is the same way. You kind of, these guys are the bad guys, but you kind of like them, and because Achish is like a baller, man. He's a very driven guy and very good at what he does. So how do you strike that balance of playing a character that is an antagonist to David and yet is knowable and relatable and likable?
Well, I have to give the credit to the creators of the show. And really, with all honesty, the reason is because we haven't seen a show in a very long time where we can get into Goliath's life and see him as a human, or can get into Achish's life. And we kind of, with this show, we depict each character and kind of go into their life a little bit to understand why they are the way they are. And I'm very fortunate to be part of the show, because it does that.
Well, you know what I've learned, any filmmakers out there, man, if you really hustle to work on the right piece of material and you cast it with the right people, you are like 80% through the job. Like, that is so important. And as much as I love the visual spectacle of the show and the scale and scope and the sets and filming in Greece, it's about the people. And the cast of this show is so spectacular. I worked for a director when I was a cameraman as a teenager, and he just said, we got to have fun. For ESPN, he said we got to have fun because the audience knows whether or not we're having fun. And I think one of the reasons people love the show is you can tell that we love each other and we love making the show, and we're all having a lot of fun making it. Yeah. I love the team assembled around the show more than anything that I've ever worked with. It's just you smile when you come to work, and you're a huge part of that. Talk about that. There's a lot of physicality to this role. There's like you charge into battle on a horse. There's like battles. There's these sword plays. What has that been like? How long did it take to learn? I only know what happens when you show up on set, and I'm like, that looks cool. But what goes into all these things that you have to learn?
Well, first of all, I get to be a kid again. I get to play swords and just live that. As we get older, we have so much responsibilities. We forget to imagine and live. So, and also not to mention that we have such an incredible stunt team. Kamani has been amazing, and his team. And for me, I'm very fortunate, and I'll let Kamani speak for that. I have the ability of picking up on my choreos really fast, and I do it with love because I really love what I'm doing. So I don't know. It's showing, and I'm sometimes I'm impressed for myself. I'm like, did I just really do that? And So we have a really great team that's actually leading us to do that.
Yeah, it's a great team, but you're great at it, and but I can't imagine the amount of work that goes into it. And no spoiler for season 2, but the episode 1 of season 2, there's some epic clashes that we are about to start filming. That just you wait. So what do you think that if someone was to say, acting is in the thing about like what's satisfying about it to you, like what is it? Because you've You nominated 3 times Best Actor in the Middle East. You won all 3 times. So you've won awards. You know, you've built an audience. But what keeps you coming back to this? What do you enjoy about the job?
At first, like I said, I grew up poor. At first, it was about the money.
Yes.
It's not about the money for me anymore.
Exactly.
John. I mean, I want you to pay me more. But,
yeah, of course.
But
You got a daughter, man. It's going to get more
Exactly.
expensive from here.
Believe me, when that hour comes, I know that I have to start making more money just so I can give her a better life than what I had. And it's not about that for me anymore. It's about the art. It's about the experience and the journey that I'm living. And believe me, I feel like every day is my birthday, man. I'm every day I wake up and I just have to pinch myself that I'm here, and I can't ask for a better place to be. Yeah.
So, in many ways, you kind of like are living the you know, well, 2 dreams. On the one, I could say you're living the American dream.
Yeah.
But also, you know, David, I always consider like the first of the hero's journeys, you know, that so many other stories spring from. And in many ways, you've lived the hero's journey, you know, and you've done it. So for, you know, a 5-year-old or 7-year-old in the Middle East today watching television, you know, seeing characters, what would your advice be to someone like that has maybe the small mustard seed of a dream?
To never give up. And as I lived my life, and I've said this before with Matt, I really live my life. You know, I walk by faith and not by sight. And no matter what life will bring towards me, my faith is just it's the foundation of everything that I do. And I tell that to every kid that's out there, every refugee that's out there. It's like, believe me, don't let things that happen to you now like shape you when you get older. Let it shape you with love and light, and it will lead you to many places. And I should be the testament for this. Yeah.
So just keep going.
Yeah.
Yeah. People, you know, faith really is it's the belief in the unseen, in the sense of like something that doesn't exist can exist. You know, and I think certainly, you know, Christianity is about faith. You know, religion is about faith, but also, you know, having a dream kind of requires faith. It requires belief that it can come true, because you got to stick with it a long time.
Well, first we have to acknowledge that how great is God. The fact that He gave us the ability to forget, meaning I could live my life with this trauma, but with faith, He allows me to forget those and live my life as a new person. I'm like speaking to you, and every time I speak of a God, like I get, you know, goosebumps, man. Because I feel His presence. I feel everything.
That's so cool.
So like I said, I have no words to describe honestly how I really feel.
It's amazing. And last couple questions: Are where are your parents still in Washington? Are they still
They're in
alive?
Arizona.
They're
Now.
in Arizona.
They went to the desert. They went to
so they went back to the desert. They're like,
Yes,
you know what? Washington's cold, trees. You know.
Yes.
Okay.
I actually love being in Arizona, and it's a weird thing. When I was in Washington, in Everett, Washington, 20 miles north of Seattle. Let me rewind that a little bit. So in Iraq, my parents were farmers, and then when we came to the States, we didn't have the money or the to get a farm. So we lived in projects and housing, but we had little backyards where my dad used to have chickens. And I grew up listening to country and living the way American life. And I love football. And I'm not your typical Middle Eastern. Like
when you say listening to country, what's on that list?
Oh my gosh. Tim McGraw, Kenny Chesney, I can't really say there's a song in here.
Old school 90s like 90s, country.
Yeah. And then there's a song with Kenny Chesney, There Goes My Life.
I love that song.
Man, and it reminds me of my daughter now.
I love that song.
I love it, dude.
Oh man, the way that song turns at the end, and and all of a sudden everything that he resented is what brings him. That song's amazing.
Yeah. And then as soon as I started listening to country, all my friends were like, "What? You're Middle Eastern? How is this possible?"
Middle Eastern truck driving country listening.
Yes.
Okay. All right, so you love trucks and country music. That's
I do
great.
very much so, and more than anything else. Really, I don't like any of that. I like the other music when I'm working out. I'll listen to like hip hop maybe,
Yeah.
you know, here and there. But no, country music is where my heart is.
So you're saying maybe before you saddle up as King Achish of Gath to get ready, there's some sort of country music in your AirPods getting you hyped up for that moment.
Yes, I love
That's
it.
ironic.
Oh, you remember that song? We'll put a boot in.
Yeah, yeah.
Of course, I listen to that, and then it confuses white people when I come through with the, you know, when I'm driving through the car and the windows down, and I'm listening to it, I'm like, what? What's going on?
I don't understand this. So your parents are in Arizona now. So what?
Yeah.
I mean, they sacrificed a lot to get you to the States to see. What's their perspective on your career and all that's going on with you, man? Because it's like you're like a rocket right now.
I have to see it from their perspective. It was very tough chasing this dream. It's because they went through so much. They're like, come on, son, please get a normal job and work just like all your other friends are doing, and just, you know, try to build it. We're very concerned about you. One of the greatest achievements in life, and one of the greatest gifts that God can give you, is that you can prove your parents wrong.
yeah.
And,
out of love.
Yeah, out of
prove
love.
them wrong. Yeah, that's great.
I could have took that in a different way and say, hey, you guys weren't there for me, and I had to do it all on my own. But no, I had to just see it from their perspective. Their perspective is just what life did they see? They went through war. They lost everything. And to come here. So now it's my turn to give that life back to them, and be like, you know, your son, yes, he listens to country music, and he loves football, and you know, so and now he's an actor,
Middle Eastern movie star, now an American movie star.
So obviously I'm doing something right. Like
Yeah.
I'm living my life in the right way, and that's how I feel in my heart. I feel this is the right way that I'm living in.
And what's your dream for the next 5 years? I mean, of course, you're a huge part of this show. The show has wildly exceeded all our expectations. You know, not to give any spoilers, but if you read the Bible, you know, Achish plays a major role in David's life for a very long time in a very interesting way. What so God willing, we've been doing this for a while.
Yes.
But what's your hopes and dreams over the next 5 years?
A lot of them.
Yeah, that's a great answer.
Well, so far I've lived, you know, I got a daughter. That was a dream. Get married and have a family. That was a dream. Becoming an actor, that's a dream. And one of the most amazing platforms in the world, you know, Amazon Prime. So in the next, I really want to be in Western films, country Western films. And also be in a superhero where we can see a Middle Eastern fighting for the United States.
Yes.
Fighting, and we always see the Middle Eastern as seen as, you know, as a terrorist. No, I have a lot to offer, and I'm working on some things, and you will see soon.
That's
and
cool.
Also take this everything that I've learned in my life and all the love that I could take here and go to the Middle East and start doing projects there, and then showing them, like, you know what, no, life is like this in the States. Don't believe all the news, and I can educate in a lot of different ways as well.
That's incredible.
So, yeah, there's a lot of dreams, and as we get all, you know, you climb one mountain, you accomplish that dream, and you can see that you have more. So it just allows me to keep chasing.
I always think the symbol of the cross as a metaphor is the idea of reconciliation, you know, God to man. So I love that your passion is to build a bridge between the two worlds that
Absolutely.
you come from in a way. That's a powerful concept.
Absolutely. And I know this,
high ideal.
with a world that sets itself on, tearing itself apart, I don't see why not at least someone would try to put some light back into it.
Thank you for being for this conversation. I love working with you. Love this conversation.
Likewise, thank you.
If you guys enjoy these conversations, we got more of them inside the house, inside this show. We might be doing some live events, might be doing all kinds of stuff. So, since you are like the social media expert,
Yes.
everything you do just explodes. What should someone do if they like this?
Subscribe.
Is that it? Is that all you have to say?
Subscribe. And honestly, we should all work together as actors and directors and producers of pushing each other's material out so it could be seen even more, instead of just one person, oh, look, I'm just pushing my stuff out. Like,
Work
again,
together.
it goes back. I've been working together, and I push with, and I know, I know some people want to do their own thing, but I do myself with love. Even if they don't post me or they don't want to repost me, that's fine. I still push them out.
That's cool.
Because at the end, we're all winning.
And you've got a great relationship with your audience. We didn't really talk about that, but I mean, not only do you have a massive audience, millions of people follow you, but they really love you. I always look at the comment threads. Anything you're in, it's just like, oh, hearts, fire, hearts, fire. What is the key to your relationship with your audience?
Just being vulnerable and being close to them. Show them not what you want them to see. Show them something that's exactly like them. Simplicity. And this is why I got this tattoo here. It represents simplicity.
Oh, that's cool.
And the more simple you are, the more humble you are, the more people are just, they're going to relate to you. And that is the key to everything. If I'm going to sit there and just be like, oh no, selling my work and pushing it, that's not going to reach the audience.
So authenticity and simplicity.
Absolutely.
Are those the, I
yes,
think.
and humbleness. Just be humble, and don't be afraid to show that side of vulnerability with your audience.
Yeah.
They want to see that because they feel in the same way you do. When they see their favorite star going through the same thing they're going through, they're like, oh my God, I'm inspired. Maybe,
Yeah.
They love seeing that.
Yeah. Show them that you're a person just like them, going through what they're going through.
Absolutely.
Every day. Show them a better version of themselves,
Yep.
kind of thing. Okay, like, subscribe, check it out. We got more of these coming. I love these conversations. I love welcoming people into the world of the show. So if you
Yes.
like what we're doing, like and subscribe.
حبايبي لا تنسون سووا لايك سبسكرايب حتى يبدون بعد يسوون قصص أكثر وأكثر.